The call came in at 6:57 a.m. Down at the beach, they'd found a stolen gun, 5 spent shell casings. But this time, something different. A boot print. Did we finally have a clue to who our suspect was? And why am I talking this way? Stick around. I'll show you why. How.
I'd like to thank the good people at Filmora for sponsoring this video. To pull this magnifying effect off, you just want to grab either an image or a piece of footage that you want to use for your project. Bring that down into your timeline. In this case, I'm just using this image of a gun in the sand with a bunch of spent bullet casings around it. I'm going to left click on that and crop to fit so it fits my entire screen. And then the next thing I'm going to do is right click on that, choose copy. I'm going to add another video track in my timeline, highlight it in the left so that that track is activated, and then right click in that track and choose paste. Now I have 2 identical tracks stacked one on top of the other. I'm going to lock that bottom track, and in the upper track I'm going to right click on it, choose crop and zoom, and I'm going to crop in on the area that I want to use for this particular effect. In this case, let's use this bullet casing here. I'm going to leave enough room around it so I have something to work with, and then choose OK. That now highlights that bullet casing and enlarges it in my upper right preview window. But I want to get a circular effect around it, so in order to pull that off, in the upper left, let's choose the Effects tab and scroll down on the left to Utility. Grab the Image Mask feature and drag that down right on top of that entire top track. That will apply a mask to it. Now I might want to adjust that mask, so to do that, let's double left click on that upper track in our timeline, and under the Image tab, if we scroll down, we'll see under the Video Effects that the image mask has been applied. Now it defaults to this circular mask, which is perfect because that's what I need to use for this effect, but you could change it to any shape that you might want to use. Down below it, you'll see I have the ability to control this mask. I can control the horizontal placement, I can control the vertical placement, but I also can control the shape by pulling in the width or the height. Let's dial this in just a little bit and get it centered right on that casing. Perfect. Now, if I left click on that track up in my timeline, I can actually adjust it. I want it to line up so it looks like it's being magnified from the original casing. So let me try to line it up so it sits right on top of that casing. That's pretty close. Now here's where you can do some really cool things. In the timeline, grab that top track, left click on it, and drag it straight up. That'll move it to another track and open up a track in between our 2. I'm going to use this white circle to create an outline for this particular track. I actually created this white circle with my Photoshop editing software, but you could find something like this online very easily. It's just a white dot PNG file that has no particular background to it. That way it'll allow the track below it to show through. Let me lock that top track so I don't accidentally move it, and if I left click up in the upper right preview window, I can now move that white dot around. Now it's a little bigger than I need, so I'm going to left click, drag, and reshape it just a touch. What can be really helpful here is using the arrow keys on your keyboards for minute adjustments. I just want to make it look more like an outline for that particular shape. That looks pretty close. So now what I have is the lower track, the circle track, and then the magnified bullet casing. Now I can find in the timeline where I want that magnification to happen, and I'm just going to slice through the top track and the white dot track, and I can lose the stuff before it. Then I can figure out how long I want it to run for, do the same thing, and lose the other end tails. So now I'll have a section when it gets to here where this will appear as a magnified section. But I want to get it to feel like it's really jumping up. So to do that, let's double left click on our footage in our timeline, and in the upper left where it says motion, let's choose that boom effect. Double left clicking on that will apply it to the particular piece of footage in the timeline. But we want that white outline to do the same, so let's double left click on that and apply that same boom effect as well. Now when it gets to this spot in our timeline, you'll see that that looks like it's jumping off the screen and being magnified. But there's one more trick to really make this pop. Using the track manager, I'm going to add one more video track above the first track. I now have an extra track placed between my main footage and that magnified section. In the upper left, click on Sample Colors, choose black or whichever color you like, and bring that down right into that open track so that it fills up the entire space between the magnified section and the main track. Now, if you put your playhead on this section, you'll see the black completely covers the main footage. But if you double left click on that, and in the upper left under the Image tab, choose Compositing, and now you can dial back the amount of transparency in that black, allowing that lower track to show through a bit. But it'll give it a much more subdued effect, allowing your magnified section to really pop. You can also consider adding a little dissolve transition to the beginning and the end of this black section so that it doesn't come in really harshly and just slowly fades in underneath your magnified pop. Kind of cool, huh? If you'd like to learn more cool Filmora tips, tricks, and techniques, make sure you click the video that's on screen now or the ones I'll put down below. Peace.